welcome back to this week's edition of Two Coaches, One Grizz. Gentlemen, how are we doing today? Coach?
We're doing fantastic. A little tired. We're recording late this week, but it's been an interesting week. A lot of things have been going on.
I think it's to our benefit.
It's fantastic. I'm blessed to be here. Thankful to be here. Grizz?
Yeah, a lot on the plate this week. I'm sure we're going to get into nice debates as we usually do. But yeah, man, a lot of stuff happening. You know, once again, real life always gets in the way. It's funny how that works out. But we're taping it as the NFL season kicks off. And that just goes to show you that there will be football every weekend.
From here on out.
Here to mid-February.
From here on out.
College or pro. And
amen.
That is exactly what this podcast was made for.
Amen.
So we are going to be talking some MMA later on in the show. We're going to be looking at the Big Ten. We're going to do a little bit of a preview there for NCAA. However, we do have to start with this week's bombshell in the NFL. The Deshaun Watson ruling on his suspension. The independent arbitrator, Sue L. Robinson, came down with her ruling, which was a 6-game suspension. Okay, which obviously caused outrage on both sides. However, I do think in her report, she did a phenomenal job of laying out her reasoning for this. She does call it an egregious and predatory act. However, I think she strikes it right down the line.
I don't think that the 6-game suspension supports what she wrote in the report.
And I agree with you. I think this is more of an... I agree with you 100%. No, we're in line. What I'm saying is I think this is more of an indictment of the past rulings and the past actions of the NFL and how she strikes it right down the line in terms of saying, you guys have been inconsistent, so I'm going on past precedent. Understand? I think this is her separating her personal feelings and what she finds, right? Because she does find and she does warrant, yes, she does believe that there was sexual misconduct. She does believe that there was a violation of the conduct policy. She does believe that the NFL laid out a good case. But she goes on past precedent. Because on the worst side of the former rulings that the NFL has made based off of this is on the more severe side, if you will.
But how? If the gambling guy gets a year.
We're talking specifically on the misconduct policy.
But by whom? Misconduct by whom?
The players.
Because, okay, but what players? Rice? It wasn't... he got done. He got suspended, never returned. If you're talking about...
Once the video came out for him, things changed. Originally, it was 2 games.
Things changed, right, for sure.
I get it. But if we're going off of what's out there, right?
Yes.
The investigation, her ruling on and how she wrote it, right? Just like when the Supreme Court comes out and they give you their write-up for their decision. The 6 games nowhere matches what she said.
I agree.
What she wrote about.
You're saying that.
So to me, I get lost in translation because
I'm agreeing with you.
Right. But again, if we go again in the past, okay, when but none of those players have had a sexual misconduct. Is my situation. Then people want to throw out the Robert Crafting. That guy went to a happy endings place. That's expected. You don't call a masseuse a professional masseuse. No. That guy went to, whatever, and it is what it is. It's a parlor. It was a happy endings parlor. It was not. There was no mistake about it.
Both parties were in agreement in this situation.
Correct.
That's another
exactly. Correct. Both parties were in agreement. Now, whether we look down upon that, whether we frown.
Correct.
That's not.
The person who partook in the ending did not put a lawsuit out there trying to settle.
Nor was she going into the room under false pretenses.
Correct. I'm agreeing with you, Gil, and I'm gonna tell you, they had originally wanted the indefinite a year. They even had talked about getting it down to 12. I believe, had this judge said 12 games, I think we're good. Because if you look at the schedule, game number 12 would be at Houston. If
Yeah, they didn't want any part of that.
If we could avoid that game and get him to play the week after at the Super Bowl runner-up Cincinnati Bengals, would be a little better. I think 6 games is just what you said. They just don't match what you said.
It's ridiculous.
She did a great job, but she just forgot the other 6 games. And now the NFL has to go with this appeal, and now we're gonna have to draw this. This could go another couple months.
The other side of it is, and I keep hearing that if things go the way they're gonna go, and the NFL, they've already picked the guy that they want. Listening to this, the arbitrator is a former New Jersey attorney general. So again,
Let's not forget they didn't even take any money from the guy.
No, nothing.
It just felt too crisp, too clean.
Correct. And
Well,
he was only going to lose $1 million anyways. He's only losing one this season.
Here's the thing.
They were ready for that.
Remember that, yes, whatever suspension that he does have, the wrench, as Coach said, the wrench is the guaranteed money, but they prorated his salary to where he's only getting paid like $1.5 million this year, right? But the rest of the
$46 million kicks in next year.
Right, the rest of the $230 million is for next season beyond because they anticipated the suspension. So phenomenal agency work on his part and his agent's part. However,
I need his agent. Everybody needs his agent. That's an amazing deal he got out of this. It's just it's an ongoing mess that could have been solved. I think had this would have been done at 12 games. I mean, once again,
I think now they might have to
they're
agree
going
to
after
14.
the whole year now.
Right.
Now they want the whole year. They're seeking the year, and it's just they are now going to get sued if that happens by Watson's camp.
Now we have precedent there as well. We do have precedents there because in the past, when it's been tried to been taken to the federal level, the federal courts don't want anything to do with this.
They want nothing to do with this.
First of all, it's a brand new CBA.
Your own house.
It's a brand new CBA. There's rules already in place, and you, as the NFLPA, have already said,
they agreed.
Good with
they've advocated for correct.
They
for the
agreed for
suspension.
this judge to do this. I'm just saying that the judge
This was
botched it by not giving them the full 12.
Here's where the NFL is going to get themselves into trouble. This was a duly appointed independent investigator that they both hired, right? A former federal judge. So, again, as we've all agreed, her layout of the facts do not align with her suspension. However, her suspension was based off of, as she puts in the report, for the precedent. So she kind of throws it back on the NFL as in, you guys have been inconsistent and I'm doing this based off of what you guys have done in the past.
I still think that it makes no sense with what they've done in the past as well. Because if they just suspended Ridley for a year for gambling, that was just their suspension.
Now, but can you also agree that suspension for the gambling situation is a player that is potentially affecting the integrity or the outcome of the game, whereas this has nothing to do with the integrity of the game on the field?
You don't think so? Don't think
I'm talking about football only, Coach.
Okay, no, I am. We're talking about a player that not only is a premier player in the league, has been accused, and it's been documented between 66 and 100 masseuses in 17 months.
And 20 plus that took him to court.
20 plus that have taken him to court, that he settled with 23 of them already. You don't think that his actions off the field have anything to do with the integrity of the game? His sexual...
I'm gonna preface this by saying I'm playing devil's advocate here. He was indicted or not, or he was. This was brought forward to 2 grand juries, and both grand juries did not bring indictments to him.
Absolutely correct. But you're not talking. But again, we're not talking about the legal. We're not talking about the legal, the law side. You said the integrity of the game.
Right, and I'm talking about
So
on
when
the
we
field.
talk- when we talk about integrity-
when you have a player who's betting on games.
I just want to say that if I got 25 lawsuits in my head, I need a lot of time to study to be the best quarterback I can be. And I got a lot of things on my head while I'm taking snaps, wondering who's going to come out of the woodworks this week for what I did. So my mind is not 100% on the football game. It can't be 100% when you have things like this weighing on you. So that, to me, feels like it will creep into the game. It's just, this does not look good.
When Rice,
It just doesn't
I'm
look
telling
good,
you,
man.
it doesn't. I agree.
Rice's girlfriend, which is now his wife,
Correct.
mother of his children, did not press charges. There was no criminal charges against him, right? But because of the video, because of what was seen,
Yeah, but they got the fuagata on camera.
I get it. Listen, I'm not condoning him. I'm just using him as an example.
I hear you.
That was an action off the field that brought a negative light to the integrity of the game.
That guy never saw the field again.
This brings a negative light to the integrity of the game. Because, again, just like the judge alluded to in her findings, this violates the personal conduct policies. There's 12, she said 12 violations. 12!
What I don't
Not
know-
one. Well, you could misconstrue this one. No. There are 12.
What I don't understand, how is there still not a video of this leak? There has to be a video in one of these rooms, somewhere, somehow.
So that's my thing. Like if they
and
had
once we
him-
get a video of something, things are going to pop.
if they like that's my thing. Like if they had him on video with the good morning spread eagle sunshine pose, right? And massaging the nether region. Like I think this would change, yes.
I still think that it was all about accidental rubbing. And he would move and an elbow would accidentally rub.
Hey, sorry. That was
my bad. I didn't.
Sir, this is intentional.
That wasn't, and that's the other thing.
Yeah.
They brought that up, that when they asked him, hey, were you ever, no, I was never aroused. No, I never got excited. And it can it could happen. But no, never. I never, nothing. Again, like I say, she found what she found. They only gave him 6 games. Like Grizz said,
do you think that there was a potential that she gave the 6-game ruling knowing that either way there was going to be an appeal and then building in some leeway there to be like, okay, let's go to 10 games?
I don't think so.
Like, do you think that there was a possibility of
I don't think so.
she was playing that gamesmanship, if you will?
I don't think
Her job is not to play that kind of game.
There's no judge that wants to get their stuff reversed or overruled or whatever the case is. Judges like to make decisions, and it sticks. Now, what I do think was wrong, and who I do think made a mistake, was the NFLPA.
Coming out with
And
the hot
saying,
fire.
hey, whatever they do, we're gonna, we should, and so should they.
Because they knew.
But now you've put yourself in a position where you can't appeal because you're backing them up 100,000%, and it's on record.
Right, but they're backing up whatever she imposed. So
but
they were good with that, and they were going to stick with it.
But the problem is that they're backing up everything she said as well. You can't just look at, they're backing up the 6 games. No. They've agreed and accepted all of the
findings. Right.
Exactly. So that, to me, puts them at a disadvantage. You're screwing yourself out of a position.
Yeah, I mean, just listen, there's a potential that this won't get settled until after the season, if you think about it, right? Like, they're going to go to bat. They're going to go to battle.
It's a situation.
This is going to be months.
Yeah.
This will be
So he
a
potentially
cloud over your entire season.
Well, he can't play right now. I don't think he can play.
But like, if this is an ongoing situation, he may potentially play.
I don't think, but
after the 6 games.
But I don't think he wants. Well, yeah, no. Okay.
You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Since
I
that
believe
ruling
there's no
now,
6 games now with the
right,
appeal.
correct. With the appeal, there's no 6 games. There is no 6 games with the appeal.
Yeah.
That's now been put aside.
Yeah.
The issue comes in now. This is the problem. The problem comes in if they start playing games with this season, and then this carries over into next season, and the guy didn't sit out, and they played him.
Okay, so what you're
'Cause now
saying
you're
is
playing
that-
into
so what
46 million.
So what you're saying is theoretically there is no game suspension right now, so he can technically play
I'm appealing.
while this is.
I'm appealing. While the appeal
I hear what you're saying.
and I'm playing. Oh, okay, great.
If I'm being smart about it, I take the 6 games and then.
No, you just don't play. Don't play. You
Right.
wait until the final ruling comes out, because again, it doesn't affect your 46 million. Because if you play now,
It potentially affects you. Yeah.
Potentially
Because
You're
now,
gonna hope-
because
you're
now
gonna
there's a
hope-
fine.
There-
Now
and-
there might be a fine in
no,
place.
and they start taking off games from next year. Because let's say you play
Right.
6, 7 games, 8 games. That's like Grizz says, it's 2-3 months,
But
and
you-
you play 8, 9
But
games.
you better hope he's smart enough because he still wants to play. He has the
Get it.
itch.
But like I said, he
So
plays
it
8
needs
or
to
9
be,
games.
It needs to be the team. They need to be smart about this.
They come back and say, okay, we're going to suspend you 14, 16, and now you start counting the other 9 this year, plus 8.
Remember, there's still a
and
chance
now-
they come down with a deal. Maybe they say, hey, 8 or 10. It all depends on how much heat is put on this.
If they were smart, I'm going to be honest with you. I think the number should be 12 to 14, and they should accept it.
Like I said,
Just
12
accept 12
was
to
what
14.
he originally wanted.
Take 12 to 14.
They
play
didn't
the last,
want it, though.
Yeah.
Watson's camp did not
correct.
want the 12.
And that's why I'm saying take the 12 to 14, play the last 3 or 4 games of the season.
Yeah.
You're in. I'm done. Boom, boom. I get my big money next
We'll
year.
see.
I sacrificed this year. It's okay. I got paid last year for no playing, so it's
We'll
okay.
see, because right now,
It's okay, man. Okay.
Right
it's
now-
okay.
Okay, I
It's-
believe you.
It's okay,
Because-
man.
forget the player that gambled, because right now there's an owner that has more suspension time than Watson.
The
that would be-
tampering, the tampering felon, Mr. Ross.
Okay, hold on. But tell me, I have kind of a gripe here. Like, here's my thing. The guy's worth how much?
No.
Humor
Yeah,
me,
but
humor me.
no. Billions. I mean, listen, come on. We're not.
And you fine him.
Let's not get caught up with semantics, sir.
$1.5 million, and he's worth 8+ billion.
But the money's
with
not.
a B.
But the money's not the
Money
case.
doesn't
here.
matter.
The team is the one that gets affected, which is the first round draft choice, a third round the next year.
Yeah.
Those are the guys that get affected.
Okay. So the reason for these sanctions and the reason for the suspensions and all these violations,
It's because Brian Flores is a. Oh, sorry.
right? But it's also because to dissuade other programs and other franchises from doing the same thing, right?
Not that it doesn't get done.
But does it not? Is this much of a dissuasion?
But he
is that a
wasn't-
word?
He wasn't even
Yes, it
retired.
is.
Okay,
It is.
Is that?
It
that?
is. It is the first round. Listen, as soon as you understand that your team is losing a first round draft choice, because it's not just who you choose or who you pick, it's the leverage it gives you to trade
Of course.
with another team, and you can package it and you can get a coveted player. So that first round draft choice is always a big issue.
But this was so typical Dolphins, because what they just lost in draft picks is what they would have given up had they traded for Brady and getting him. And it's just, to me, you know, when you have all this good vibes coming out, I mean, we just had the greatest throw ever made in practice by any quarterback apparently in the history of NFL practices that went viral. And then, like, the next couple of days we lose a first round pick out of the blue moon because our owner is an idiot. I mean, it's just stupid. And
It's because the NFL hates the Dolphins, I tell you.
I mean, right now it looks like that way. I mean, we're just getting the stupidest things.
I was messing with one of my buddies on another chat about that. And he was like, "Man, it's because it's the Dolphins. They hate the Dolphins."
But I mean, what are you doing? Why are you flirting with this guy when he's still under contract?
But hold on. Let's not go there. Let's not take it in that fashion again. And I'm going to go back to Brother Flores. Okay, I'm sorry. The guy snitched.
No, definitely he snitched.
The
It's
guy
on him
because
too.
he
But
wasn't happy with what was going on, or they were
Yeah.
trying to do. And so, I guess what he wasn't consulted, and he wasn't going to be happy with Tom Brady. They think
but
that
they
Tom
didn't
Brady.
find that part. They didn't find that part for Ross.
They found the $100,000 thing.
Yeah.
No, that was not part
And
of it.
then what he came out with is a bunch of BS. His little statement that he's clear.
It was a joke. I said that jokingly, whatever.
Yeah.
You
This
don't
guy
say that.
snitched.
I get it.
It's fine. We're rid of him. But that's still our owner's an idiot. At the end of the day, he's an idiot.
I think he's an
and whether
idiot.
the rest of the league has owners that do that, I'm sure they do.
Yes.
But the bottom line is he's an idiot.
I just think he he's an idiot because I think he included this guy and he shouldn't have included him.
But he's not a
he should have
football
only-
owner. He should have never even. Ever since he's taken over this team,
So there's a lot.
has been ridiculous.
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of people who say this, right? That organizations are the ones who tank, right? The coaches and the players are never going to actively tank because, as a coach, like, it's not within our nature.
Unless you're the Bengals. If you're Cincinnati, you're tank city.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry.
but it's not within our nature.
remember,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
No.
we're not gonna now organizations. What they're gonna do is like, hey, I'm gonna trade that guy. I'm gonna trade that. Like, put the team in the worst
is
position.
not what I'm really concerned about. This is what you're talking about with Flores. The tampering part that happens later on is separate with Brady and Payton. That's separate from the tanking
Right.
from 2019
Right, but
to
why-
try to get Burrows.
Right, while Flores
Not everybody
was
does
there.
that. That's common sense. Everybody's trying to get the number one pick. We never do because we always mess that up too. We win when we're supposed
Eight
to
and
lose.
8, the best 8 and 8 in the world.
Ever. And I'm just upset with the whole because they said how Brady when he retired he didn't even retire. I was just saying thank you to the Bucks. It was actually not a retirement. He was never supposed to retire.
Yeah,
he was supposed to come here, be an executive, and then wait the amount of time that it's like, oh, I feel like playing again. Hey, we'll send you a couple picks, bro. Let's make it happen. And that's what I'm saying. That they just lost the picks that eventually they would have traded anyway, but they're Dolphins. The Dolphins do Dolphin things. This is my curse. This is what I live with.
But again, I go back to if Flores doesn't talk.
But it doesn't matter about Florida. You're not understanding
He's
the
always
curse consumes
The curse.
anybody.
The curse. Is that the
He wouldn't
17?
have snitched somewhere else.
Is
He
that the-
doesn't snitch,
is
and
that-
he's in another team.
Is that the 17-0 curse? You're gonna
Whatever
carry
it is.
The El Bambino
It
curse?
is what it is. But it is
The
that for
Don
me.
Shula curse.
He does not snitch on another team because he doesn't have the dolphin in him to snitch. That's what you don't understand. Bro, you're watching your Raiders right now on TV. That's your team. They do it their way. Just win, baby. We just do it our way. Apparently, just
Look,
snitch, baby.
nobody snitched on Gruden.
Nobody. He just fucking messed up on his own.
Nobody.
All I'm
Nobody.
saying is, in that point, when it came to that part, he's a fool. The way he went about tampering.
Yes.
The other minority owner also just.
But he was
Come
the
on, man.
connection guy, bro.
Of course,
He was the guy with the connections.
But Ross is a connection too. Same college, all
This
that.
is gold right now.
Yeah. This is
It's-
what I got to deal with,
ridiculous, man.
We have probably our best hope for a team in the 2000s.
Since the millennium began.
It's the millennium, man. We lost Marino in 99, dude. First time in the 2000s I got a little, talking about my little happy ending of
a little
Bentley.
wind
Yeah.
under your sails.
Yeah,
right?
you know that little breeze that'll make a masseuse jealous? That kind of feel. And now, it's been taken away with this.
Oh,
I mean,
Grizz.
hopefully we're still going to have
There's a
decent
dark
season.
cloud over the
'Cause
Dolphins.
this is a good thing. This takes away all the pressure off Tua. You got a fool of an owner. Just go out there, play your game. Just find my boys. Just find them. That's it.
Throw the hits to Waddle.
But once again, the 8 games I think he can't be around the team. That's more than Watson.
By the way,
That's
if
7.
anybody's watching the preseason game,
Oh,
looks like
riveting.
Jacksonville's second and third stringers suck as almost as bad as their first stringers.
I mean,
It's ridiculous.
come on, man. This is what we're gonna deal with here, bro.
So let's segue into our NFC North preview. Okay, NFC North. We got the Bears. We got the Vikings. We got the Packers, and who am I missing? Oh, the Lions.
The Lions.
We're always missing the
The
line.
mighty
always
Lions.
missing the
What are you
Lions.
talking about?
So
bro, those guys were. We'll get into it now.
So
Yeah,
you're
I'll
gonna
wait.
break them.
I'm gonna wait.
You're
I'm
gonna
gonna wait.
You're gonna break them down.
You
You're
want
gonna
to
break
like
them
the
Like
down.
to start with the Lions?
Let's go. Let's go
You're
into
breaking
the
them all down, but
We're gonna jump right into the Lions right now. Our
it's
NFC
Packers
North
and the
preview.
rest. But break them down.
And this year, I'm gonna be honest with you.
North.
I might be leaning towards Minnesota this year.
Wow.
Everybody's sometimes always leaning Minnesota.
Well, we're gonna get into
So
that.
we'll see.
No, we're
Sometimes
gonna get
always.
into that. We're gonna get into that.
Sometimes always.
We're gonna get into that. But the Lions.
You like that?
First
You like that?
of all, for the Lions, you guys know they were one of the best ATS against the spread teams in the NFL last year?
When it comes to the gamblers, I know they're close to the heart. I know that. But
Brother, they were they had an unbelievable record. They went 11-6 against the spread.
Wow.
If you would have bet you were 5 games over 500 at $1,000, you're up $5,000.
What's the phrase that you say? Good teams
win, great teams cover, baby.
Oh yeah, buddy.
And let me tell you something. These guys, they have a nice schedule this year. They have, I'm gonna say this, last year they faced the 5th hardest schedule of opponents. And again, the stats that I give you are based off of wins by Vegas. So in other words, they played the 5th schedule.
Is that a
I've learned so that's
is that a metric?
Well, it's used by this guy named Warren Sharp,
Okay.
who writes a good book at the beginning of every season. It's a good preview book, and he gets really into the analytics, and that's how he lines up the schedules. He bases strength of schedule by the Vegas win totals. So if you're playing Green Bay, Dallas, all these teams that have 10, 11 win totals, you're playing a tough schedule.
Right.
Because Vegas is expecting them to be a good team. So with that being said, they played the 5th toughest last year. This year they have the 5th easiest. So again, those are all things to keep in mind as you watch the Lions play, as we watch Goff play. Now, again, one of the things that Mr. Sharp talks about and he's always discussing is early down success on first down. And he's a big proponent about throwing the ball on first down. Because usually, if you can spread teams out, if they don't respect the pass, you throw the ball. If not, you can run it.
Right.
So again, it's more to throw the ball on first down and make running unmanageable downs. So last year, the Lions were very big on running early. Of course, the OC was Anthony Lynn. Dan Campbell took over the play calling halfway through the season. And that's how they got better. And they led a few games before blowing them in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, I mean 2021 record 3-13-1. And like the you watch this team and your heart yearns for them, right? Because they were in every game.
And that's why gamblers love them.
No.
And what happens is Johnny Q Public only looks at the record. You're like, oh man, these guys suck. They can't win this week. They can't. No, they're gonna get killed.
Wait, they had like the most the games decided by one score in the NFL this year.
And
they were all losses. And
that's another.
And that
metric.
was the teams that we spoke about last year. That there has to be a regression to the mean there. Like they're not gonna be that bad. They're gonna be closer to 500 this year.
Agreed. And that's exactly it. The ball's gonna bounce their way. There's fumble luck, turnovers, and those losses in 1-score games. And that all points to the Lions having a much better season, including their schedule. So those things do point. Hopefully, again, if Goff is able to do a better job with play action, play calling at the end of the day is always the key. And those are things, again, with our program here and the things that we look for is play action on first down, things of that nature to open up the passing lanes so that you can get less third down because you don't want to get third downs. And when you get there, they're much more manageable.
Yeah, and just going off of that, what we just talked about, they injected a little, some firepower, right? They got DJ Chark, right, who had a pretty nice season last year. They picked up rookie Jameson Williams, okay, in the draft. You have Amon-Ra St. Brown, who
he had a great season last year.
Who's developing, correct, and is due for, some would say a breakout season, right? And then you have Hawkinson before getting hurt.
Which is a nice solid tight end.
A solid tight end. Like he was actually had him starting in one of my leagues. He was solid, very solid. And then he got hurt, and then it was we were done there. But Jared Goff, again, even though that the record didn't see it, I think he had this team battling. Like they never really gave up. And of course, credit due to Dan Campbell as well. With that first pick in the draft, they go with Aiden Hutchinson, right? And again,
which again is one of the things that they need help on.
Right, pass rush,
pressure on the quarterback to make their defense better.
So, Chris?
No, just looking at the schedule, kind of soft schedule gives precedence to what Gil's saying about them improving. I still see max 6 games that they win.
But that's an improvement, right? Like that's
leaps
and again,
bounds.
I get and if I'm not mistaken,
That
again,
would be
I think they were
doubling their wins.
right. I think they were.
And with that being said, there might be 1 or 2 that they're able to win at the end, a
The
field
ball
goal,
bounces their way.
and they win. They go 7-8, 7-9. Remember, 17 games now.
7 and 10.
So 7-10 is
There's
not
still a double-digit loss team.
exactly.
in
But
my
you
opinion.
win your 7. and
Absolutely.
You've
The
done.
beauty is someone's got to win. There's, to me, 3 teams that are not going to win 10 games in this division. So there's room to win, and they're playing the NFC East. They're playing the AFC East, which obviously the Bills and Dolphins probably your toughest schedule there. And they have Jacksonville. They have all the weak teams they're playing. That comes with having the worst, place in your division.
So again, they're only favored in 3 games. So that doesn't bode well.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But
Even with
they
that
may,
schedule.
they may be cover monsters this year again.
Like I said, guys, keep an eye on those lines. As soon as it gets a little
they'll be high on the
inflated,
spread, I think, this year.
you
Again.
know,
They'll play close.
in game spreads is also something I want to look into this year, which I want to take a look at it, especially if it's going to get any kind of sharp action, and then in the game they fall behind by 2 touchdowns, and all of a sudden the line swells. You can take it and you can go from there.
Good stuff. All right, moving along to Chicago Bears.
The Bears.
The Bears. Chicago Bears. I think this is pretty simple. It's all about Justin Fields. Done. No, just kidding. Go ahead.
No,
Coach.
I mean it really is. And again, it's a situation where they're only favored in 2 games. They have a pick 'em against Atlanta, which will be the 3rd game. Things don't look well just because their offensive line is not very good. They have a defensive coach. They brought in Eberflus, who was the defense coordinator of the Colts. So again, it puts them in a situation where they have the 4th easiest schedule of opponents. So they've got a good chance against their opponents. But are they going to build around this kid? Are they going to put enough on his plate to throw the ball early and put themselves in good position?
You got to believe in them. You have to believe in them. And I don't believe they're going to believe in them enough. They will finish last in the division, I think.
It's funny because I keep noticing, and that's one of the things that I think these defensive-minded coaches, and we'll get to Minnesota next, but Zimmerman was famous for that, right? They have this quarterback that could be a stud, could help them, but they want to lean on the running game so much to shorten their game, rest their defense. But the problem is that your offense is getting 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, so you're not resting your defense. And then eventually it catches up with you.
Right.
And when you take a look at the stars that Minnesota has had for the last 4 or 5 years, they had good players. You're taking a look at Chicago now with a bona fide quarterback. The problem is that the receiver room is the 30th most expensive room in the NFL. The tight end is 27th, and the O-line is 31. So when you're not spending money on those guys, you're not building around your quarterback. You're just not helping him.
Yeah, they acquisitions, right? N'Keal Harry, who I think up until this late in the season never scored a touchdown or something like that, right? Byron Pringle, Equiminius St. Brown, okay? And then at tight end, they picked up Ryan Griffin. So nothing there that says, oof, right? They lost Allen Robinson, who was their best receiver by all accounts last year. They lost Marquise Goodwin, okay? They're top 2 dudes. So they really don't have anything to help this guy. How are you? And this is my frustration, right? As an organization, you're investing this much into a young quarterback, okay? You made a change, coached it. How do you not surround this cat with receivers, with targets, with big targets, and put the system around him for him to succeed, especially within the first 5 years where you really need to, evaluate whether this is the guy of the future or not.
And maximize on his contract.
Right, 100%.
He's got a rookie contract. Now's the time to spend money to get guys around him.
If this guy messes around and has a freaking solid season, right? With these scrubs out there.
If he's good enough, he could be that kind of player. But still, he needs weapons. I can't see this team scoring more than an average over 20. And in the league right now, people score, and this team doesn't look like. They have a defense that's you're gonna have 16, 13 games. They're gonna get outscored weekly.
No, it's not like they have like a solid defense like they had a couple years back. I mean, Khalil's Mack gone. Robert Quinn is holding out. Like
their first two, they had two draft choices in the second round. They were both defensive players, a corner and a safety. So again, you're not trying to better your O-line, your receivers, and that's where you win the game. Nowadays, you win with the O-line and your receivers. And agreed. Chicago, again, I mean, to me, they're in a tough situation. The only reason it's an easier schedule is because, again, they're going to get to play the Lions twice. Okay? They're going to get to play the Jets. They play the Giants and Washington. They play the Texans. They play the Falcons. So, again, those are all games that could be
they may fall into like a 7-9.
They could be
what is it? 8-9 season or whatever.
Once again, they have very winnable games. It's just they're not going to be able to score with these teams. So that's why I see 5 wins max for them.
Yeah, last year their record in 2021 was 6-11.
They'll probably end up with 4-3 because
I think they're right in that
teams they gotta
wheelhouse
lose, and they're going to be losing a lot.
I think they're right in that wheelhouse at best. At best,
especially if they lose the kid. If he gets hurt,
it's a wrap. It's a wrap. All right, let's go ahead and let's move on to the Vikings, sir.
The Minnesota Vikings.
2021 record was
they're so talented.
8-9.
Can they hold it together and not get hurt though?
It's a brand new quarterback, a brand new head coach with an offensive mentality,
which is fantastic.
Extension to Kirk Cousins.
Can they stay healthy? This team always loses their pieces. Dalvin Cook, I don't trust that guy ever again. He's injury prone.
Correct. That is a problem. But again, just like everything else in football, there's regression to the mean. So therefore, you put yourself in a position where if you have been injured and things of that nature, then that following year you get to less injuries. Your stars stay in the game longer, et cetera, et cetera. I think that this guy has learned from being with the Rams. I think that he understands the importance of a backup running back and using him. Because again, the Rams did go through some injuries, and they have gone through some running back injuries over the last 2 or 3 seasons. He's been there for that. So I think it puts them in a good position to be able to open up the offense a little bit more and to be able to use their weapons that they have.
Yeah, man. I mean, I gotta tell you that you just see them on paper, right? Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, okay, and then KJ Osborne, and then in the backfield you have Dalvin Cook. Like, it's eye candy for you offensively. They
haven't been used,
and
I hope they're used because this is an 11-12 win team on paper. I just see 9 max. I see the first 6 games. You got Green Bay. You're going to start off the bat right there. At home, this is a statement game. You got to win that. At Philly, tough. Detroit at home, okay, there's your cupcake. I think the Saints will give them a tough game. Bears your cupcake. And at Miami, home against Arizona. So the first 7. They got to start out pretty good for that.
Do you know what their record was in one-score games last year?
What were they?
6-8.
Yes.
All right.
So again, you're looking at regression as far as that's concerned as well.
Yes.
You put a guy. I know people don't like the name Kirk Cousins. I know it's
but he's
negative.
Gotta prove it.
I get you, but his stats are usually pretty good.
How is his prime time stats?
That's got to be changed.
That's going to be change. Week 2 against the Eagles.
That's got to change.
ABC Monday Night Football.
That's got to change, and that's a tough game. That's a tough game because they are a dome team.
I got to see that.
So I may be leaning to Philadelphia there.
New Orleans game is going to be in London. Will Kurt and the offense travel well? I hope so. They have the New England game later in the year is a Sunday night game. I just got to see them do it. And unfortunately, until Aaron Rodgers is out of that division, I can't see them taking it from them.
Well, but half of that duo is gone. Mm-hmm. So that's going to help them.
Oh, I don't care about that. You got Aaron
I think
Rodgers
so.
is the ultimate duo.
I get it, but I still think it's gonna be a little different
but
now.
this is the only guy that is Tom Brady.
And when the
where
head
just put anybody there.
When the head coach is talking about we're gonna try to use Justin Jefferson, like we've been using Cooper Kupp in the Rams. I think that brings a little bit of excitement.
It does,
and it changes again the perspective of they can win in a shootout.
They haven't been
They're gonna
used
score
as well.
more points.
They haven't been used as well, but you look at their fantasy; they are used. They do have a lot of big plays.
They get fantasy points, but those don't equal wins on the field.
I know that, but
they equal wins for us off the field.
But that's the thing. That's all they are to me is fantasy,
Right.
because that's what they give you. I got to see the wins at the end of the game complete, and I know the ends of the means, but some teams are just that. Some teams just don't win big games. Some quarterbacks just don't win big games.
They don't rise to the occasion.
Some guys just don't win big games. And I'm still waiting for Kirk Cousins a decade since he was drafted. See, he ends up being better than RG3 because he lasted, right?
Yeah, he just didn't get hurt as often.
And before Deshaun Watson just stole money, he was stealing money, showing every year like this is how we do it. So when it comes to that, Kurt, you did more than what you should, but on the field, win, baby. Let's go.
They're favored in 9 games.
All right.
So that puts them in a good position there.
Wow.
To go over double digits.
Good.
Okay. Again, their schedule is manageable.
Well, they're the type that chokes.
No, you're absolutely correct. I just think that they're due for some positive regression. They're due for some positivity on their offense. Because as we mentioned, they have some stars, and I think they've got the right guys there now on offense to be able to do some different things. And then we'll see what happens as far as their defense goes. They hired the Denver DC. He was solid for the 2 or 3 years he was there. So again, I just think that they're in a good position.
Now, rounding out the division, we come to the cream of the crop, the Green Bay Packers. However, we got question marks, ladies and gentlemen.
Yep.
Okay, we got a lot of question marks here. This division, okay, even though we may agree that the Packers are going to win it, it is not a runaway as it has been in recent years. Okay, Green Bay Packers, they were 13-4 last year. Okay, again, this is not a given. They have lost the best receiver in football to the Raiders. All right, their number one receiver right now is Allen Lazard. Okay, followed by Sammy Watkins, who was another acquisition there. Okay.
Duck. Quack.
You got Marcus Valdez-Scantling.
He's gone.
Again.
He's gone. He's not there.
Oh, right.
He's not there.
Again, question marks is what I'm saying.
You could walk into the receiver room and not know anyone. You wouldn't know who they are. Their best guy
you're going to get to know a few of them this year.
It's Runyon and Lazard. That's it. Those are the two guys.
Yeah.
Now,
the second rounder, Christian Watson, does he pan out for them? That's the question.
Let me throw you a little nugget out there, just so you can see how good this guy has been. Okay, in the last 4 years, he's thrown 500 pass attempts with 5 or fewer interceptions in each season.
Yeah.
Okay? If you don't think that the ball's going to bounce a little bit against them this year with those guys, yeah, I got something for you.
I don't know, Coach.
They're favored in 12 games?
In one of the shows in the past, we talked about that he had 3 interceptions in the last 18 months or something.
Coach, 500 attempts every year for 4 years, has thrown less than 5 picks. There has to be a little bit of slowdown and regression. The guy's getting older.
There has to be, right?
The guy's getting older. They've won 13 games for the last 3 seasons.
Right.
But no Super Bowls.
No, the Super Bowl can't win them.
Ouchie.
But the guy during the regular season is a mechanical robot. And like I said, there's another guy.
I don't know if there's a I don't know if robot is the best. Like a savant maybe.
His offensive line is also caca.
Once again, if he's hurt, you could get off.
No,
but if he stays upright every game, 13 wins. Book it.
They're favored in 12. I'm sorry, favored in 12. They're supposed to win 13 games. I may take the under in that.
I can tell you that.
I'm thinking about it. I'm going to fade them, though. I'm going to be honest with you. I am going to take.
I know you are.
Because they're going to be favored just like
going off of what the
Grizz. They might only win 12. What do I know?
Going off of what the Grizz says, I think their season hinges on how healthy David Bakhtiari is. I mean, he's That was the anchor of their O-line. You also have, another offensive lineman who's out with an ACL, Jenkins. Like they're just not. There's so many questions. It's scary. Like
there are so many questions.
Their defense. Don't forget,
there's a great guy that has answers.
They have to have a defense now, and
They
their
do.
defense is another one that played really crappy quarterbacks last year.
Yep.
Played guys that were either playing at less than 100%, or they had just come back after missing a game. Wilson and Baker Mayfield. And they also have players who were hurt in the game. Murray. The quarterback rooms that they faced last year were not good quarterbacks.
They weren't.
So again, this year they play a tougher schedule.
They do.
They're in a situation where, again, and I'll go back, they were 8-0 against those guys. They went 5-4 against the other guys. Against the better quarterbacks. Guys were at full strength.
Yep.
So, again, they could win 12 games. I'm not going to say they're not. I just think they're going to be
Buffalo.
favored in a lot of games just because of that thinking.
the aura.
And
the aura.
The aura.
But the aura deserves
aura.
it, though, right?
Well, I mean, so far they've been.
Once again, there's another guy who's about to turn 45. That sometimes these just people that just do it, and until they don't do it, you gotta keep doing it with them.
I get
They
it.
have 4 to 5 games that look beatable. Everything else just as cupcake as everybody else. They do play 6 games against these division foes, and like I said, Minnesota has to. Minnesota beats them week 1. You are all in on this. I'm gonna like 8 because that's the game, and I think playing at Minnesota week 1 will show what greatness is. Aaron Rodgers. I'm just a big believer in this guy, and I don't bet against this guy. I bet against Tom Brady. That screwed the shit out of me. I don't bet against these guys anymore. It's over. Let me be hurt by them. It's fine. But, at Buffalo, that's going to be a fun one. They're going to get wrecked probably, but that's going to be fun. You got at Tampa Bay week 3. We'll see how Tommy does, but I think that's going to be a game they lose. And the at Philly game to me is always, depending how Philly's
Listen, they're
doing.
playing at the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's going to be, I'm telling you, the Patriots don't snooze on the Patriots.
They're
this
playing
year.
the Patriots at home. I got no
I
worries
get
there.
it, but the
because
Patriots
all
play in
their
the cold
home
weather
games, I
anyways.
got no. But
it's
it's not about bad weather. It's just they just play excellent at home. The Packers have always played
really
excellent
do.
at home.
They really
It's
do.
just what they do.
They have.
They have one
It's
of the
what
best
they
home.
do.
There's one of the best
And
home
they'll
field
have the
advantages.
Rams in bad weather at home Monday night. That'll be a fun game. They play good at home. Look, that Miami game, Christmas Day might be a spicy game. Who knows? I'm just saying, even with the schedule, I still see the 13 wins. I still trust Aaron Rodgers. Some of those names we don't know, we will find out who they are because that's what people like Aaron Rodgers and great quarterbacks do. They introduce you to these people. They go, hey, you see this guy nobody heard from? I'm making you a start, kid. I believe he will do that with a few players this year. It's all about injuries. It's always harps on that. Will this man be on his feet all 17 games? He almost got taken out by a toe a few years ago. Like, there's things that can take you out. But if that man is standing straight, throwing the ball, there's a reason why 500 passes and the guy's a surgeon.
He is.
Let's not-
But don't forget that his favorite scalpel.
You've
his
given more
favorite
love to how the
is
Lions
not there
season's going
anymore.
to end up being than I feel.
Don't forget, his favorite scalpel is no longer there.
I know that.
And that guy would throw the ball on the other side.
that was the best.
And that guy would.
He had the best.
Like he was.
He
It
had
was
the
disgusting.
best,
Those
but
two
my
guys.
man
were-
has had others throughout the years.
I guess the question is he going to be an orthopedic surgeon or a neurosurgeon this year? Either way, he's got to get it done, right?
Hey, I'll tell you what. I don't think he's gonna have his rubber gloves on. He's gonna be hurting.
We're going to be right back with with a breakdown of our Big Ten, the 2022 season for the Big Ten Conference in the NCAA. And we're back for segment 2 with some NCAA football. Today we're going to break down the Big Ten Football Conference, which is like Big Ten, but there's like going to be like 15 teams, some craziness going on here. But for right now.
Not yet.
Not yet. Big Ten. Coach, take it away. I know you got some serious numbers going on over there.
No, I mean, honestly, it's really not that difficult. The two best teams in the league are Ohio State and Michigan.
It's Ohio State, Michigan, the rest.
Okay, they're low. Ohio State is loaded. Ohio State's biggest move this offseason was to pick up Jim Knowles, the defensive coordinator for Oklahoma State. who last year was one of the best defenses in all of college football. I really think that to me is going to be a game changer, especially with the talent that they have, the kids that they can recruit, and the offense just is stacked. Even getting, moving on from the receivers that left, the receivers are coming back. Or loaded offensive line.
Yeah, it's a reload, not a retool.
It's ridiculous. It's just a ridiculous situation with them. I really think Ohio State goes to the playoffs and has a great chance to win the national championship.
8 yards per play last year in 2021 behind C.J. Stroud. Dude is a redshirt freshman, I believe. Coming back, he's got 2-3 more years of eligibility after winning the Heisman.
Yeah, he'll leave before He'll leave before that.
Oh, 100%. I think this may be his last year.
He was a Heisman finalist.
Heisman finalist, correct.
Besides Michigan, any team were you to upset them?
I don't even think Michigan can upset them.
No,
I'm not gonna lie to you.
I don't think Michigan, because it's going to be at Ohio State, and I think revenge.
Wisconsin, I think, is gonna get back to their winning ways. Wisconsin should win the other side.
Pesky. They're always pesky.
Correct. Iowa's offense is horrid. And the problem is that the OC is the coach's son. Mm-hmm. So he's not going anywhere.
They're always just going to be tough because they're Iowa, but I don't think they're like the couple years back that they've been playing really
They're
good.
tough because of their defense.
Here's my thing. Like, Jim Harbaugh got Michigan over the hump last year. They defeated Ohio State finally. He got the monkey off of his back, winning the Big Ten for the first time. They lost everybody.
No, they don't. They've got a few. They got
some retooling to do, Coach.
They got quality pieces back. Their biggest loss was the OC, which is now in Miami.
Right.
That was their biggest loss, because Gaddis, I think, really does a great job of running the football, throwing the football. I just think he calls a really, really good game. So I think that in and of itself, they're going to go back to a little bit more smash mouth football.
Again, they also lost their defensive coordinator to the NFL as well. They lost Mike McDonald also, and they were giving up 17 points a game last year.
Right, but they brought in a guy. They brought in, they elevated one of the guys that was there who was also a Baltimore. Or they brought in. They brought in a Baltimore Ravens guy, who again follows that mold of defense.
They lost Aiden Hutchinson, David Ojabo, Brad Hawkins, Dax Hill, Vincent Gray off that defense. So it's going to be...
Yes. Instead of giving up 17 points a game, they're going to give up 21, 22. They're not going to be more than 4 or 5 points worse.
I hope so, because I loved seeing that team in October, November.
I have them down at scoring 38 points and giving up 9.7. That's the way I look at it starting the season.
Got it.
They don't have a really difficult season to play. Again, their recruiting has been phenomenal. Harbaugh's done a great job recruiting. And at the end of the day, that's what helps you year in and year out. Yeah. Is your recruiting numbers.
I want to go back to the Buckeyes, though. You got no shot against Notre Dame for a chance there? No shot?
I don't think Notre Dame... First of all, it's the new head coach. Mm-hmm. Their new quarterback. Offensively, it's the same OC.
Playing them at home helps, too.
So, again, everybody has a chance.
Oh, definitely.
But Ohio State wins.
I'm just always thinking they're only shot at a loss just because Michigan State. Always, it's on the road. No matter how Michigan State looks.
But that's Michigan. That's Michigan, not Ohio State. Michigan is the one that struggles with Michigan State.
No, I know that Michigan State doesn't beat them, but they play them tough.
Right.
I'm saying I always give them a shot. Because Penn State, they're going to get wrecked. It doesn't matter, home or away. They always get wrecked against Penn. Yeah, it doesn't look like anybody's touching them. I still think they're going to beat Michigan State by 20. I'm just saying that's the team that I look at.
Michigan State did come out of nowhere last year with a great running back that transferred in. They lose a lot of pieces this year. Mel Tucker's done a good job of reloading some guys from the transfer portal, but it's just not the same team. They did lose a lot of guys. So, again, I don't think Michigan State gets up there. My dark horse is Nebraska. I think Nebraska is ready. They were if you take a look at their stats and you take a look at their points, they were the best team in the nation that had a losing record. It was ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, they lost a lot of close games.
Everything was field goal,
that was
6 points.
Bad. I remember
at
how
the end,
everything
overtime.
was close.
It was disgusting. And I think they've got a decent quarterback. I think they move in the right direction. And I do think they win 8 games this year.
Let's hope.
I think Frost can get them to 8 games.
Frost get
Not
them
going
out
to be
the hole.
easy.
Nah,
but
the
I think
only
they'll
thing
get
that's
the 8
good,
games.
they don't play Ohio State. That's their best part.
Correct.
They got to play Oklahoma.
That's something that they may not be able to get from.
And that's fine because that's again, you got Venables going in there. It's a new coach. So even though Oklahoma will beat them or should beat them, they should keep it close enough where
they got it at home at least.
Continues to give them confidence.
No, their schedule is winnable for probably even more than 8. So it's out there.
And back to what I was saying with Michigan. Michigan's had a top 15 recruiting class since 2019. It's been number 8, 14, 10, 9. The 5-year average is 13. So you've got a good football team.
They develop well. It's just when you get into bowl season, when you get into playoff season, they can't compete with the speed and the athleticism of these SEC and Southern teams.
And again, offensively, they bring everybody back. So they're going to be good defensively. Like you said, that's where they're going to.
Right.
They have to develop guys. And it's just a situation where it's one of those that they're good enough, but they're not good enough. Okay? And to me, like I said, Ohio State is the class of that, of the Big
100%.
Ten.
It's Ohio State up here,
and everybody
a few rungs down Michigan, then everybody at the bottom of the ladder, downhill. So I think that covers that.
And one more game, just as far as excitement is concerned, I think Maryland's going to be a very exciting football team to watch. I don't think they win more than 5 games, but they're gonna sling it around the park. They got our boy Tua's brother. Is their starting quarterback.
Right.
He's got some nice pieces around him. So that's going to be take the over. Take the over on that one. Those are going to be 60-point games.
Woo.
Yeah. It's going to be they're going to be scoring 30 and giving up 35.
Barnburner.
Yeah. 30 and 35. It's,
Oh, wow.
That's how it's going to work out.
They're an intriguing team for our coach because they're going to be part of the deep dive a lot, I'm sure.
Oh, 1,000%.
I'm telling you, I think Nebraska's going to be one of my favorite deep dive teams out of the Big Ten. I like them a lot. Minnesota, I'm a little concerned because of their offensive line. Maryland, as I said, I like them for the over, so I'm going to keep a close eye on that, see how they're moving. I took the under 4 games with Indiana. I don't think Indiana wins 4 games.
Wow.
I think Indiana's hurting. Their quarterback
that
left.
nice little fluke season the other year, and last year they were brought back to earth.
Yes, they were. They were, and they have a tough schedule. They have a real tough schedule. It's one of the toughest in college football.
Yeah, because they're in the same division with Michigan and Ohio State. It's always going to be tough for them.
Yeah, everybody on top over them is pretty good.
Yeah.
Poor
State,
guys.
Michigan State, just sad.
Poor guys. All right, then that covers our Big Ten preview right here. We're going to be right back to close out the show with some MMA and, talk about some those legends that have passed on. And we are back to discuss UFC 277 this past weekend, highlighted by the Julian Pena, Amanda Nunes fight, second round. Okay, and there was a spirited debate off air, so we're just going to continue this.
It really wasn't a
air.
debate because I'm in agreement with Grizz. We were just discussing, and he mentioned the trilogy. And I said, I'm all for it. You're absolutely right. I think she had a great fight. But then I also mentioned that on Twitter, people were talking, well, why would you fight her a third time? She beat her up. She this, that, and the other. And I was like, I thought the girl put up a great fight. She had her in trouble 4 different times.
She was a dog. I mean, Nunez deserves it. Put her down constantly. But as you were saying, never pounced on her when she was down, because every time that woman put her down, she almost had her arm broken. This one's punching her. The other one's breaking arms.
Submissions galore.
I mean, This is all you want. It was a 5-round
And I got to give credit to
slobber knocker.
No, it was great. I got to give credit to the Lioness and her corner and
Yes.
they trained. She came out southpaw, came out left-handed. She did an amazing job bringing that right hand over the top and knocking down Julia Pena numerous times, hurting her a few times. And like you said, she refused to pounce on her like the Lioness always does. So the Lioness knocks you down, she goes to eat you up.
They thought she was done after she loses, after winning for all these years. The GOAT is done. No, what happens? You come back. You got to switch it up. Listen, you're the fight guy here, but I saw a woman that switched it up.
She came in lean.
She came into a camp going, I'm going to bring the heat. And I'm gonna,
Lioness is going to come back.
Exactly. But then the new champ, just didn't want to give it to her.
No.
It should have been out 4 to 5 times.
Easy.
Should have been out.
Easy.
Should have. We've seen fights stop for less. I thought constantly there was going to be stoppages on this fight. And it was just back and forth. This girl, Pena, just...
No, she's
This is why, like, if you don't want to see a third fight, I don't know why are we
don't watch a third
talking
fight.
MMA?
We will.
We will.
If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it. But we
Let me
will.
explain something to you. This is what trilogies are. You win one, the other one wins one. Regardless, some have been worse.
You need a tiebreaker.
You need a tiebreaker. This needs a tiebreaker.
Need a tiebreaker.
We need it. It's a money making machine. Hey, the rest of the night were quick fights. Blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's cool to see a nice knockout.
The co-main event was phenomenal as well. But again,
it's cool to see these quick fights if they're done.
We talked about that. I like that. I went 2-1. Went 2-1 on our picks.
As always.
We lost our underdog, but we won the 2 favorites.
But look, there's some 5-round fights that are boring. They're snooze fests. They're just, hugging each other.
This was nothing of that.
This was nothing. You got 5 rounds of action. So if you don't want it, we want it. Bring it. These ladies deserve it. Top of the line. This is one of the better fights I've seen.
Agreed. By men or women.
Doesn't matter.
It was a top.
See, this is fight. what we want to get to, where it doesn't matter what gender we're talking about. This was a fight.
I mean, this puts it on the map even more.
She's a dog.
No. Again,
that girl's a dog. The one Nunez, the ex-champ, GOAT, big dog as well. They're dogs. I don't care what you are.
Pena submitted her in the first one. She took everything the Lioness could give her because she did.
She got
took it
punched
all. She
square
took
in the face.
He just eats it.
She ate right hands.
Give me more.
And come. And if I get you on the ground, get ready because I'm gonna try. She tried 15 submissions. She had her arm twice where it looked like it was gonna break.
Oh my God.
Like Grizz says. It was turned sideways, and I was like, "Oh wow, we got her!
You know
I was waiting for her to tap out.
You know that feeling when it does happen that you get? That was already happening to my arm multiple times. I'm like, my arm is snapping right now, and this girl would get out of it. You're like, oh. And I kind of wanted it to snap because I was kind of rooting for Pena, but I don't want that thing to snap. Right. That's a horrible thing.
Yes.
But it's just amazing.
And I just wanted to tap out. I didn't want to snap. I wanted to tap out.
I was like, stop, girl, tap.
And there was blood everywhere, too, in that fight. Like, it was just, wow.
Yeah. No, it was a
good stuff.
It's a good card. Once again, UFC is putting on quality. It's all it is. Top to bottom. Yeah. Knockouts.
All the other fights, like I said, some of the fights today, that day, were a little snooze fest to me. What was it? The only other guy that I know is the guy that drinks out of the shoe. He's had a couple losses. Lewis, was it? Yeah. He got his ass beat.
Yeah, he got knocked out.
His shtick is over for me.
Yes, he's done. He's done.
Was there another guy that these guys always look like the Russian guy that won?
Oh. No, but that's Ankalev. I mean, he's minus 6
They all look like
Khabib.
They all look like
they're all Khabib.
Same little Khabib
they're
look.
all Khabibs.
Every time I see that look, I'm gonna bet on that guy. Because it's a sure win, man.
They're just so expensive. You can't. It's ridiculous. They don't give you a chance.
It's the same.
They don't give you a chance.
You want this cut? This fade is gonna cost you. It's gonna cost you.
And again, this weekend there's another card. It's fight night. I'm taking Vicente Luque. I like him. He's favored at minus 190. He's fighting Jeff Neal. Should be a good fight. Lots of blows. And Luque is one of those guys that's up and coming. I think he should win the fight. So that's what we're going with this week.
Very solid. No, looking forward to that for sure. Unfortunately, we do have to segue into... We've lost a couple legendary legendary greats here in the world of sports. One being Bill Russell, 11-time champion with the Boston Celtics, and the other being Vince Scully, who was the play-by-play caller for the Dodgers for 6 decades. Went from Brooklyn to LA with them. And you talk about two titans of sports, and not just in baseball and basketball respectively, but also in society,
in life,
right? And what they
life.
did after and away from sports.
See, this to me, well, it's always, we got to respect people that we lose, but these are two gentlemen that won. Bill Russell, 88, 94 was Vince. These gentlemen lived their lives.
They lived their lives.
It's more, hey, you got to go. Everybody's going. They lived their lives. This is a celebration, I think, when you hey, remember Bill Russell, the guy that has more rings than fingers? Remember, he was the first African-American coach, in a place that you couldn't, you would think was not
racist.
fun. Because if I remember, first African-American coach and same place where it was the last baseball team that integrated.
Integrated, correct.
But let me say this, and that's one of the few things that they always talk about Boston, and I was there not too long ago to watch the Red Sox, and man, one of their best pitchers, and maybe that's why I was a Red Sox fan back in the 70s, was Louis Tiant, which is a black Cuban.
Yeah.
And he is beloved.
Oh,
has
yeah.
always been beloved. So whenever I hear that they're racist, I don't
it's
think
not
that
that.
they're racist. And again, I think the city gets so
Coach, that city was racist. It
Well,
was one of the more racist
this is the
cities.
thing.
Again, I
This
don't
is the
agree
thing,
with
you-
that. There were racist people, but I don't think the city was racist.
It's one of the more racist
I
cities.
disagree.
This is
I
simple.
disagree.
This is simple.
I disagree.
In the 50s and 60s, a little bit more racist than today.
But
That's
everywhere was 50s and 60s
Yeah,
was
but
racist.
it was hardcore there.
Okay?
I'm
I mean,
just saying.
everywhere was. I mean, for God's sakes.
I'm just saying. This is what I heard in the documentary
Boston-
from the people themselves.
Miami was racist in the 50s and
Yeah.
60s.
Boston, they're freaking racist.
Again,
It doesn't
I'm
matter.
I'm not going to argue that
But
there's
that-
some people there that are
first of all,
racist, but the franchises have never been. The people that run the franchises never. No, I'm not going to. How am I going to say? How are you going to say that? If in basketball,
But that's
they
not
hired
what I
Bill
was-
Russell, that was a player coach,
Right,
was
right.
the first
But that's
black
Red Auerbach,
African American.
the franchise.
But it is. But
But that's
he
not
represents
the people.
Yeah, but he represents the
Yeah, I
town,
know that, but
and
there's
people
still-
are going to
I
the
know,
games,
Gil, but
and
these
people
were
are
a little
supporting
bit-
them. And he was still one. And listen, the things that I
I'm
most
just saying, this was just like iconic stuff at the time. This
and
is on, I
again,
just
one of
spew
the things that I respected about Bill and I thought he was great was that he lived an amazing life off the court.
Yeah.
He was a pioneer.
He was part of that pack
in
that
reso-
with
in
Jim
equal
Brown
rights
and-
equal
Yeah.
rights and
He was about
civil rights
everything. Yeah,
movement.
everybody.
He was always, and again, he was always very professional, very above
Mm-hmm.
and beyond the scope of things. And that's one of the things I really respected about him throughout the years, because he has commented he's always been involved to a certain extent, and he's always been one of those guys that has
but
been
everybody
a
likes
great.
this guy. Everybody,
Yeah.
the guy has been the standard bearer of like greatness. I'm just saying, okay, he came through a tough time. That's all.
No, listen, undoubtedly.
Yeah.
Undoubtedly, there was a tough time.
And I'm just
But
saying,
it's not
people
just-
like Red
it's
Auerbach
not
and
just
all,
that
they
city.
made that statement.
Right, but like I said, it's not just that city. We're talking about the 50s and 60s. Every place was racist.
Yeah.
So
but
that's
for the Northeast, which usually was the more lighter side,
right, because
that specific
yes.
spot, a little bit more. It was just a little bit more sugar on top.
No
that
doubt.
time.
Again,
That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going to argue that it wasn't racist or had. But again, as we've moved on, it
No,
has
they've
not done
had
that.
great strides.
And they.
I'm just saying, for the time that he did, he created barriers that he broke. That's
Yeah,
all.
but again, those barriers were everywhere.
I know, man. But that specific barrier was pretty big.
Yeah, no, listen,
It's the
again,
wrong city
But-
to defend.
It's okay.
Just
No,
sorry.
listen, again,
I'm just gonna leave it there.
And then Vince Scully, for me, that I wasn't that big of a baseball guy. He's the one that I listened to growing up because he did also, national
NFL.
games. He did NFL games. Like Gil was saying, he did the catch with Dwight Clark, the 49ers Cowboys. He's done big games. And like I think they talked about it all day today, the one where he did the call for Hank Aaron. The best call he did was not talk at all. He just let the moment
Yeah,
And
he was,
that's-
he
and that's
was
one of the
really
things-
good with that.
That's one of the
when
things he
you're
was really, really good at, just enjoying that moment, letting the fans enjoy the moment, and then
If you look at
talk about it.
documentaries when they talk about Vince Scully, he was really famous. Obviously they would never show him in the box, but he would make the initial call of those big moments and then make it a point to turn around and look the other way so he would not interfere with the moment.
Oh, the Kirk Gibson home run. When Kirk Gibson hurt, he walked out there to beat Oakland. Again, it's a monumental moment. It's just something that was incredible at that time. And as you said, he allowed the moment
To speak for itself.
and
Yeah.
that's not easy. And yes, he was a legend, and I enjoyed that game. That was one of my. I always couldn't stand Dallas, America's team. I've never liked Dallas. I've never been a Cowboys fan.
Neither have I.
And I, as much as in the 70s, again, as I was growing up, Miami's football team or was not. So I grew up watching Notre Dame, and I enjoyed the catch. That was an amazing Joe Montana to Dwight Clark. It was great. It
That was
great.
good stuff. But yeah, Bill Russell, 88, Vince Scully, 94, both titans of the athletic world. May they rest in power. 2 coaches, 1 Grizz. Out.